If you want to stay up to date with all current hip hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of this community. Bryson Tiller to me is someone who has been playing in the leagues of the likes of Frank Ocean or Kendrick Lamar over the past couple of years. He's always someone that's not very public about his music or his personal life, and we know more about him through his music rather than interviews or social media. Now, in many regards, this is a good thing. It has allowed people like Frank Ocean to really just be this musical entity that people still relate to, but that is not in their faces all the time. And that is also what I've respected about Bryson Tiller for a long time. Now, the ironic part about all of this, and artists like Kendrick Lamar or Frank Ocean, for example, I take these two as an example because I just think they're the best to compare to, is that they still do incredibly well commercially. So they kind of, they work on an album for 3-4 years. It's been forever since Frank Ocean dropped. It's like 5 years. Kendrick also is like 4 years now. So as an example, and once they do come back, it's a big bang. And their music is usually, in a way, kind of boundary pushing. They're always trying to innovate, and their albums themselves have meaning, and they're not just flooding the market, which would be the opposite strategy that we see a lot of young artists out there do nowadays. So now connecting this back to Bryson Tiller. Bryson Tiller dropped TRAPSOUL back in 2015, and this is by many regarded as one of the best R&B/hip-hop fusions and, modern-day R&B records of the past decade. This has really defined his career, and with it also came a lot of problems. Because 2 years later, he dropped True to Self, his sophomore studio album. And while as a standalone project, True to Self is amazing, it always had the problem of getting compared to TRAPSOUL. And this really took away a lot of the shine that the album would have gotten without him being defined by the success and the influence of TRAPSOUL 2 years earlier. And so after 2017, Bryson Tiller kind of went into hibernation to work on some music, maybe, take a little bit of space away from music to focus on his personal life. We got some singles. We got a single in 2019, Blame or Cancelled, which kind of gave fans a glimpse into his life and what he's doing musically, but it was never part of a bigger major release. But then in 2020, in October of 2020, so just a couple of months ago, we finally got the very much anticipated third studio album from Bryson Tiller called Anniversary. And this record is really good in itself. And if you've been following the channel, you know that I've talked about this a lot in the past too, and that I liked the record. I thought as a standalone project, this was incredible. It had, basic Bryson Tiller vibes, and basic not used in a negative connotation, more so in a, we go to Bryson Tiller for some certain vibes and moods, and this is exactly what we got on this record. So it was everything that I wanted it to be. But one thing that I immediately saw the problem with once it dropped was the title, Anniversary. And the reason it's called Anniversary is because it was the 5-year anniversary of TRAPSOUL. And this, to me, I've said this a lot of times in the past too. I've said this on my live streams, which, by the way, check in on Sundays, 2 p.m. EST every week. Is that by calling it Anniversary and making this clear connection to TRAPSOUL, he is again dependent on his previous past success with TRAPSOUL. Of course, fans love TRAPSOUL. And there's also a funny thing to me is that he dropped the deluxe edition of TRAPSOUL just, I believe, a couple of weeks before Anniversary dropped. So he was clearly trying to get people back to listening to him through TRAPSOUL, through the success of that record that had defined him many years earlier. And that is part of the major problem with this, because Anniversary, compared to his previous works, especially compared to TRAPSOUL, didn't do that well commercially. When you look at the streaming numbers, when you look at the sales, Anniversary can't match up to TRAPSOUL. And I always like to do this in terms of Spotify streams because I think that's somewhat of a good way to measure how relevant a project is that drops right now when, people are using streaming as their major or preferred way of consuming music. Yeah, Anniversary didn't do that well. Most of the songs have under, 10 million plays or 20 million plays, which is, we had big hits on Trap Soul like Don't with almost 700 million plays, or Exchange or Right My Wrongs. And this to me is kind of sad to see, because I still believe that Bryson Tiller has it in him to create another, and I know this term is overused, but classic, something that people consider trap soul to be. And also he dropped the deluxe edition of Anniversary I think it was 2 weeks ago. And that is also not doing well by any means. We had a video for it. We had like Clockwork, which was amazing. That video was amazing, but it's still only to this date, after like 2 weeks, it did like 1 million views, which is, that is good. That any upcoming artist would kill for that. But for someone of Bryson Tiller's caliber, that is just not on par with his previous success. And also, one thing I want to mention is that he dropped a video for Sorrows off of the original track list for Anniversary, which you have to go check out. That is incredible. That is a piece of art. And that is the reason I also decided to do this video, because I saw the numbers, the views on that video, and I was like, this deserves much more attention than it actually got. And this kind of makes me sad to see. And I think this is a problem deeply rooted in the approach Bryson Tiller took to Anniversary. Because by making that clear connection through the title even to Trap Soul, also with the cover, kind of, recreating the cover from Trap Soul, just in verse. When you go look at the two covers, you're going to see what I mean. He is really just, in that moment that he's doing that, he's mobilizing his own success that he could have with Anniversary. He's putting a limit on what this album could be, because he's comparing it to Trap Soul. And by doing that, he is upping the expectations that people have for it, but not in a good way. Now people are going to have expectations on a level like Trap Soul. And he's very likely not going to be able to recreate Trap Soul, because he has evolved as an artist and he's been making different music. He has evolved personally, and that is just not going to be reflected in the music. So that's the kind of the problem that I see with Anniversary and with Bryson Tiller right now. And the reason I decided to do this video is because I was sad. I was sad to see that Bryson Tiller is not doing well commercially on a level that he once was. And I believe he is an incredibly talented artist. I believe he deserves way more attention for Anniversary, because it is an incredible record. But unfortunately, by being defined by the success of Trap Soul, he has mobilized and jeopardized the success and the influence that this record could have had. So yeah, that's my take on that. I hope that Bryson Tiller will come back with something fresh in the future. Maybe, he can take some time off again. I also hope that other artists like, as I said, Frank Ocean, Kendrick Lamar, don't fall into the same trap that Bryson Tiller did here. And yeah, that's just a very paradoxical, situation that he's in. But yeah, it's whatever it is. I hope y'all like Anniversary and y'all go stream it, because it's an incredible project, and I would love to see my man get some more love for it. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.